What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be doing another one of our tier lists, or our, I'm guessing, yeah, diamond tier, pink diamond tier. So this is not just a normal tier list, this is a tier list. But yeah, so in this video we're going to be talking about all of the best diamond cards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. We're going to be ranking them in 6 different tiers. S tier are the top, the best of the best. A tier are still pretty good cards. B tier, decent cards. C tier, probably usable but not good. D tier, definitely would not advise to use, and worthless are, please do not use these cards, you will really struggle. And yeah, so if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe channel, hit 220,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Right now we are about, I think we're about just over 600 off, so honestly if we can hit that in the next 2 weeks, I'll be absolutely delighted. So anyway, now let's get onto it. So we're going to start off with Tiny Archibald. Tiny Archibald was not bad when the game first came out. I am going to say that. But he's in the okay, but I would not advise you to use him category. Tiny Archibald is super quick. Not the worst shooter in the world. Like, he's not a great shooter. Not the worst shooter. There are way worse shooters than Tiny Archibald. So in terms of that, he's perfectly fine. But just overall, I just don't think he's quite good enough. He doesn't play offense quite well enough, doesn't play defense quite well enough, and I just don't think that he's that card. He's a great card in this game. Earl Monroe's kind of that same tier. Earl Monroe, man, some people had a lot of success with him. He's basically the same Earl Monroe as last year, the Diamond Earl Monroe from last year, and I didn't like last year's Diamond. I don't really like this year's one. Doesn't shoot the ball particularly well, doesn't defend particularly well. He goes to the basket well, I will say that, but his on-ball defense is lacking, and for me, anyway, that's a big problem. He just can't get clamps either. Marbury, same boat. Marbury, I think, is that little bit better. A little bit quicker, so Marbury's in the meh tier. I can't put him lower than that. All three of these are quite similar standard. I just don't want to put all three of them in the same tier. I'll put Marbury up a little bit because I think Marbury's a little bit better, but Marbury can shoot the ball kind of well. Got D-Rose release. He's like a better shooting but worse dunking D-Rose. It's like, imagine getting the Amethyst D-Rose and subtracting a little bit of his dunk and vastly improving his shot. That's basically what you're getting with Stephon Marbury. But a really decent offensive card. Defensively, he struggles. JaVale McGee. The two-time Shaqtin' a Fool MVP he's not going higher than D tier, I'm sorry. He's not worthless because he's a big body. Like, you're not going to get put into worthless here because he's a big body who can block a bunch of shots. He plays no offense and plays no perimeter defense. He doesn't really serve a purpose. You can get the exact same thing out of JaVale McGee as you can get from, I'm just going to see if we can, whatever reach you, heck, Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler gives you exactly what JaVale McGee gives. He gives you exactly what JaVale McGee gives. But yeah, so now we're on to Brian Winters. I mean, you could argue here, but I'm going to put Brian Winters in A tier. Brian Winters, if you manage to get him early on in the game, back when range extender badges were 6,000 MT, if you manage to get one of him early on in the game and badge him up, he is a beast. He is an absolute beast. Like, there's a lot of really good things about that card. So I am going to have to put him in A tier. His jumper is same as Clay. His defense is really good. Again, one big problem is that you can't give him range extend anymore, but if you did give him range, he's really good. Then we got Larry. Larry's a little bit too slow for S tier, but man, he might be the best catch and shoot player in the game. I don't know what it is. Please tell me I'm not crazy. The Season 1 Season Tip-Off Pack players shoot way better than their rating suggests. Like, Larry Bird shoots better than anyone with a similar rating. Allen Houston shoots way better than anyone with 93 rating. Heck, 84 3-ball on Mitch Richmond's a lie. He hits basically everything. Heck, even the Derrick Rose with a 73 hits kind of consistently. Or a 73-3. So, I don't know what it is about these specific cards. They just shoot way more better than they should. Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, he's JaVale McGee with post-game. I don't think he's good, but he's not as bad as D tier. He's C tier. And we got Ben Wallace. Get into worthless tier. He brings nothing. He brings absolutely nothing new in my team. Like, if you want someone to block a bunch of shots, get yourself a Tyson Chandler. He's like a significantly worse Bill Russell, do I not have Bill Russell here? Surely Bill Russell's here somewhere. Nope, by the looks of things, I forgot to put Bill Russell on the list. He's a significantly worse Bill Russell. That's all I'm going to say. And Bill Russell would be like... Bill Russell would be B and A. He'd be an S tier defender, but offensively probably like C tier. Ben Wallace is like, imagine Bill Russell without any perimeter defense. That's basically what you're getting. Ben Wallace can't shoot a jump shot. He can't shoot a mid-range. He can't take a post hook. He can barely score a layup. Gary Payton, C. I know, B. He's a good defender. I don't like him. I have him. Don't like him. Gonna put him in B tier. Jerry West. I mean, he's better than Magic. He's better than Gary Payton, but he's not spectacular. Can't get range, but a good jump shooter though, and good defender. Jason Kidd, same as Payton. They are very, very similar cards. I don't really like either of them, to be honest. I'm not a fan of Jason Kidd, which is a little bit of a surprise because normally in I like Jason Kidd. It's not a surprise because normally I hate Jason Kidd. I don't know what I'm thinking right there. Isaiah Thomas. This is a card that I liked. I definitely did like Isaiah Thomas, but he's on kind of tier with these. He's the best of these three. I'll be the first to say that. He is the best of these three cards. But the problem with Isaiah Thomas, he's just that little bit small. If you're as small as he is, I can't put him in a higher tier. He's a guy that you can use and you can be successful with him. No question about that. He's too small and his layup package is slow as well as doesn't really have much of a jump shot. So for that reason, I am going to put him into B tier. Then we get Dennis Rodman. I mean, Dennis Rodman is like, imagine a better Ben Wallace, but not that much better. He gets a bunch of rebounds. I'll be the first to say that. He gets a whole bunch of rebounds, but that's really it. That's the big thing about him is he gets boards, and like kind of everyone gets boards in this game. And he still doesn't get defensive boards. No one gets defensive boards. Everyone gets them offensively. No one gets them defensively. He's not going to bring anything on offense. He's going D tier. Lamar Odom, C. Lamar Odom 6'10". Release, I hate. Like, his handle's good. He's 6'10" with a handle. And that's really the whole thing about him. He is 6'10" with a handle, but I just can't... I can't find out how to use him. As like going to the basket, he feels really clunky. Shooting the three ball, he still feels kind of iffy. Like, there's a lot of not good things about this card. And while, yeah, he definitely is a decent player going to the basket, he's just not good enough to be above C tier. Paul George getting to S. Paul George, one of the best cards in the game at what he does, which is play defense and run to the basket. A great catch and shoot release, in my opinion, from the corners. No range extent, this is only negative. If he had range, he would without question be an S tier. But he doesn't, so we're going to have to put him here in... Oh, sorry. If he had range, he would be, like, absolutely no doubt in S tier. But because he doesn't, a lot of people would argue A tier. But S tier, yeah, that's a fair spot for him. Definitely fair spot. Steve Nash, A tier. I like Steve Nash, don't love Steve Nash. I've used him fully badged up, and I think he's good. I think he's very, very good fully badged up. But I just don't think he is quite good enough in terms of release-wise and dunking-wise to go into S-tier point guards, but he is good. Chris Webber, not a card I like, but when he's fully badged up a quick first step, you can't really argue he's A-tier. You can give him a bunch of shooting badges to make him a competent shooter. He's also a really, really quick center to use and can blow by people. Chris Webber is a really good card in this game. He's really good. Draymond, with the most obvious S-tier inclusion. Like, you can't even put Draymond into conversation with anyone else. Like, if there was an S plus tier, Draymond would be above here. Paul George might get moved down, but Draymond, without question, is S tier. My favorite player in the game this year. He's a game changer. Tim Duncan makes him slightly worse. The fact that Tim Duncan's out there, but the fact Tim Duncan's like 300k is actually a good thing, because it means that if you were someone who locked in for Draymond, like, Draymond's cheaper. I still think Draymond is better to run a center than Tim Duncan, because if you know what you're doing. But at the same time with Draymond, you have to pay for the range extender, you have to pay for the quick first step, and pay for the gold clamps. But my whole thing with my Draymond was I badged him up when badges were really cheap, so I have obviously got him for a lot cheaper. But no, he is S tier. Kevin Durant belongs in... I'll put him in A. I don't think he's good as PG. I'm going to say that right now. I know a lot of people would argue he's better than Paul George. I don't think he's as good. I think he's got bronze range extender, and his release is really iffy. Like, surely I can't be the only one that does not like Kevin Durant's release. Like, he shoots the ball kind of well. And that's the only way I can describe it. Kind of well. He's also not the greatest going to the basket. Get the great Pro 2 between the legs. I do think at some stage we'll get a good Kevin Durant card. I really do. I just don't think this card is it. John Stockton, get into S tier. Man, John Stockton's so good. He's so good. Like, his jumper is so nice. His defense is really good. He has a 90 driving dunk, which is incredible. And he just kind of does, a little bit of everything. Honestly, he does a little bit of everything on the offensive end. A little bit small, but that doesn't matter yet. If we're looking in 2 months' time, if they do come out with some like good giant point guards, then maybe this card will become outclassed. If you're watching this video and we're in January and we have a Ben Simmons that can shoot, then obviously this card is outclassed and he's not going to be usable anymore. But until we see that giant point guard that's God tier, honestly, John Stockton will be that guy. He will be that guy around the one. He will be more than usable. So he's S tier. Kyrie Irving, A tier. His release is just a little bit iffy. So not his release, his defense is just a little bit iffy. His release is actually not bad this year. I'm so used to saying Kyrie's release is bad from last year, but I don't actually think it is bad. He's got a decent jump shot, great handle. The only problem is, again, defense is not up to scratch. Dikembe Mutombo, he's slightly better JaVale. Let's put him in C. Latrell Sprewell, getting the S tier, one of the best wings in the game. Really good shooter, really good release, decent handle, and when you badge him up, he's fantastic. Next S tier player, Deron Williams. The best point guard in the game, not named Steph Curry. The best point guard you can buy in this game, and it is not even particularly close. He without question deserves his spot here in S tier. I might have to start moving things around. I think I'm going to move Paul George down one spot because I'm going to move Giannis Antetokounmpo into S tier. The best defensive card in the game, and it is not particularly close. He can guard the point, he can guard wings, he can guard bigs. He is the best defender. He's like a downgraded version of the pink diamond Giannis we got last Christmas in 2K20. And he's like an upgraded version of the diamond Giannis from last year. It's not a game-breaking card, but it is the best defensive card in the game, and he's a decent offensive player. Allen Iverson, I don't like him. No range extender, no clamps. Defensively, he's really poor. 6 foot tall. Is he better than Tiny? I think he is, so I'm going to swap these two. So if Iverson 1 up, Tiny 1 down. But Iverson is not a great card. Mark Eaton, he's a giant. Like, he's 7'4", so I can't put him lower than C tier, but like, he's not very good. Yeah, that's why he's in C tier. And we got Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher is so nice. Derek Fisher is better than Kyrie. He's better than Kyrie, he's better than Nash, he's better than West. I think I'm going to push Jerry West down to B tier. But, man, Derek Fisher, he's got the Curry slide. He's got a fantastic release. It's a weird one. Base 40, I don't like it on right-handed players, and I really like it on Derek Fisher. I don't understand why I don't. Because it doesn't make sense. It's the exact same release, exact same timing. I don't understand why I like it more on Fisher than most people, but I do. Magic Johnson, B. I'm going to move Stephon Marbury down one as well, because Marbury's not as good as these guys. But Magic Johnson, he's got the Curry slide. He's got a really nice behind the back. He can't play defense. He can't shoot the ball, and he's not very fast. This Magic Johnson card is not great, but man, I am telling you, when we get a good Magic Johnson card, it is going to be the best point guard in the game. Magic, we will get, and last year Campus Legends Magic was so good for so long. Magic, when he comes with clamps, quick first step, you don't even need range extender. In like December and January, when we get a Magic Johnson with even gold clamps and gold quick first step, that card will be game changing. People will realize the power of Pro 3 again, because the deep hash spacing is still the same as last year. We just don't have the cards yet that are good enough at speed boosting into deep hash. And we don't have the range extended players to kick the ball to, but I'm telling you, he will be a game changer. Later on in the year, I don't know about next gen, But current gen, if you're still on PS4, we will get a Magic Johnson's a game changer. This one is just not it. Then we got LeBron. I'm putting LeBron as a high A tier player. I'm not the biggest fan of LeBron. I will be the first to say that. I'm not the biggest fan of this card. I think his release is awful. But he's super fast and super good at defense. Then we got Chuck Person. Chuck Person's going A tier as well. Scotty releases is only negative. He's a big body. He can play defense and he can shoot the ball really well. So a really decent card. And now we're on to our kind of our last couple of players. So Darryl Griffith. I mean, he can run and jump and dunk and kind of shoot. A B. I've used him only in one game, and I didn't even think it was good enough for a gameplay. Actually, no, sorry. I used him in one game, and it was in... I can't even remember what gameplay I used. I used him off the bench in a game in the last, 2 days. And he was decent. Don't get me wrong, he was decent. He can go by people and dunk very well, but that's kind of all he does. CJ McCollum's bad. Man, CJ McCollum, the exchange reward is bad. I didn't realize how bad he was going to be, but yeah, the only way I can describe him is he's not good. And we have got Lou Hudson. Lou Hudson in here in B tier. Lou Hudson, when he gets clamps, so he's actually got a really nice release. He's actually pretty quick. He's good enough at going to the basket. His shot is good. He doesn't have range, so he obviously can't go into the top 2 tiers, really. He's not good enough on defense to be in the A tier, but as far as Diamond Token rewards go, I would still say Fat Lever 1. And then Hudson might be in that conversation for number 2, not gonna lie. He might be in that conversation. Earl Monroe's in it as well, but Hudson's not awful. Speaking of awful, this dude right here. Get into D tier. He can't go to the basket, he can't play defense, he can't shoot. Actually, no, sorry, I'm wrong. He can shoot a little bit. He can't play the defense or he can't go to the basket. So, Shea, get into D tier. Larry Johnson, get into A tier. Larry, you have to badge him up. I will say that. You have to. If you don't badge up Larry Johnson, he's not good. You need to badge him up, but once you badge him up, he's a very, very good card. Not good enough to break into this top 5, but a really good card. Then we got Coleman. Coleman's not as bad as people say. I'm putting Coleman in B tier. Coleman's a really nice pick and pop jump shooter. He's a really nice catch and shoot player. He does a lot of things really well. He's not the most athletic player in the world. He's a little bit small at 6'10", but man, Coleman's not bad. Greg Oden, C tier. Oden, he's a good rebounder. He's a good defender. I don't know what it is. A lot of people were telling me, I heard a lot of people saying I should try out Greg Oden for gameplay. And I used him just on somebody's account. And man, I couldn't do anything with him. I don't know what it was at Greg Oden. I just could not do anything with him. His jump shot for me felt weak. He rebounded well. His defense, I don't know, it was even worse than I thought it was going to be. Only a 78 mid. He's got a 33 ball. Yes, he can dunk the ball. But honestly, what's he going to give you that Tyson Chandler doesn't for 1/10 of the price? Just get yourself a Tyson Chandler. If you want the center to just block shots and play around the basket, get yourself Tyson Chandler. Darius Miles, in a disappointment to put him here, but he's B tier. Darius Miles was one of the first videos I made on this channel about budget beasts. He was a budget beast in 2K 17 at the very start of the game. 2K18 when he came out at the end, he was a budget god. 2K19 he came out quite early as well in those Blake Griffin packs. He actually came out this time, I think it was this week in 2K19, he came out and was a god. His Ruby card. Unfortunately, this card is not as good as any of them. This card is not as good as his Ruby from 2K19 that came out at the same time 2 years ago. It's just not good. I'm shocked, but he's not good. Desmond Mason, he would be higher, but his 3 ball is 70. I cannot put a wing with a 3 ball of 70 and not great height and bad sigs above B tier. He's a good defender and he's very, very quick. Isaiah Ryder. I don't know if I want to put him low A tier or high B tier. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know which one I want to put him in. I'm going to put him in high B tier. He's got LeBron's release, which I'm not a biggest fan of, but he is quick and dunks well and is an okay defender. He's decent. Not great sigs though. So that's why I'm putting him high B tier, but he'd be high B, low A. He'd be somewhere in between. Then we have got Timmy D. Timmy D, get into S tier. He's in the conversation for the top 5 players in the game. He is. So, you've got Draymond, D-Will, Steph Curry, trying to think who else there is, Dr. J, and probably Duncan. Like, they'd be like your best 4 cards in the game. Or Draymond, best 5. He's probably a top 5. Duncan's fantastic. His release this year is not that bad. I'm sorry. It feels like his release on Half Quick Draw. I've used it in a few games. It's not awful. It's surprisingly not awful. Because his release have been awful in previous years. It's surprisingly not awful. Then we have got... We're down to our last 2. Big O. I mean... He's got a really nice behind the back. Can't really shoot or play defense, though. I mean, I can't put him over Allen Iverson. I'm sorry, you can't dunk the ball. I've actually had a lot of success with him in the game I used him, but I just can't. He's just not objectively better than Iverson. So he's going into C tier. And then Victor Oladipo, B tier. Victor Oladipo's nice. He is nice. He's a good defender, decent shooter. He's just a nice card. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. That is the tier list. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.